At Christmas dinner, my mom said, "That baby looks nothing like you," in front of everyone. I stayed silent. Then I handed her the paternity test. 99.9% match. Her apology tour started when the whole family turned on. Original post. I, 34 male, have been married to my wife for 5 years. Our daughter was born 7 months ago, and she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. She's also the reason my family just imploded at Christmas dinner. Some background. My mom has never liked my wife. From day one, she's made passive-aggressive comments about everything. Her career, her cooking, her family background, the way she dresses. My wife is a paralegal from a working-class family. My mom is a retired elementary school principal who thinks that makes her royalty. When my wife got pregnant, things got worse. Mom started making jokes about how the baby better have the family nose, how she hoped the baby would take after our side, stuff like that. My wife mostly ignored it because she's a saint and because she knew how much it would hurt me to go no contact with my own mother. Then our daughter was born. Here's the thing about genetics. They're weird. My daughter came out with dark curly hair, olive skin, and these big brown eyes. She looks exactly like my wife's grandmother, who was half Italian. I'm blonde with blue eyes. So is most of my family. The comments started immediately. "Are you sure she's yours?" my mom asked when she first saw the baby. She laughed like it was a joke, but her eyes weren't laughing. "She doesn't look like any baby in our family," she said at the baptism. "I've just never seen a baby look so different from the father," she mentioned at Thanksgiving. Every single time, I shut it down, told her to stop, told her it was inappropriate. My wife pretended not to hear, but I could see how much it hurt her. About a month ago, I'd had enough. I ordered one of those at-home DNA test kits. Not because I had any doubts, I trust my wife completely, but because I wanted ammunition. I wanted proof I could throw in my mom's face the next time she implied my wife was unfaithful. The results came back December 18th. 99.9% probability of paternity. Obviously, I printed out 2 copies and kept them in my coat pocket, just in case. Christmas dinner was at my parents' house. The whole family was there, my dad, my 2 brothers, their wives, my grandmother on my dad's side, a couple of aunts and uncles, maybe 15 people total. My wife was helping set the table when my mom started. "You know," she said loudly, "I was looking at old family photos today. Every single baby in this family has had blue eyes. Every single one. For 3 generations." My wife froze. I saw her hands tighten on the napkins she was holding. "That's interesting," I said flatly. "I'm just saying." Mom picked up our daughter from her carrier and held her up like she was examining livestock. "This child looks nothing like you. Nothing like anyone in this family. I think it's time we addressed the elephant in the room." The table went silent. My grandmother put down her wine glass. One of my aunts actually gasped. "What exactly are you implying?" my wife asked. Her voice was shaking. "I'm not implying anything, sweetheart. I'm stating facts. That baby doesn't share our blood. Anyone with eyes can see it." My younger brother's wife looked like she wanted to disappear. My dad was staring at his plate. Nobody said anything. "You need to apologize," I said. "Right now." "For what?" "For being the only person brave enough to say what everyone's thinking." Mom actually smiled. "I'm doing you a favor. Get a paternity test. You'll thank me later." I stood up slowly, reached into my coat pocket, pulled out the envelope. Already did. I handed her the paper. She unfolded it, and I watched her face cycle through about 6 different expressions: confusion, recognition, disbelief, and finally something that looked almost like disappointment. 99.9%, I said. "From a certified lab. That's your granddaughter you're holding. And you just called her mother a cheater in front of our entire family." Mom tried to rally. "These tests can be wrong. They make mistakes all the—" "No, they don't. And even if they did, that's not the point." I took my daughter back from her. "The point is that you've been saying this for months. You've been humiliating my wife at every family gathering. And you were so sure, so confident that she was lying that you never once considered you might be wrong. I was trying to protect you." "From what?" "From my faithful wife? From my biological daughter? From a happy marriage? My grandmother, my dad's mother, who has never once raised her voice in my presence, spoke up from the end of the table. You owe that girl an apology. Right now. Mom looked around the room for support. She didn't find any. My brothers were stone-faced. Their wives looked furious. My dad was rubbing his temples like he had a migraine. I may have been hasty, Mom finally said. I apologize if I offended anyone. My wife repeated. Fine. I apologize for offending you. But I was only saying what everyone was thinking. No one was thinking that, my younger brother said. Literally no one. That's just you. Mom's face went red. This is ridiculous. I'm the victim here. I was trying to look out for my son, and now I'm being attacked. That's when we left. Packed up the diaper bag, grabbed our coats, and walked out. Didn't say goodbye. The drive home was quiet. My wife cried for about 20 minutes, then got angry, then went quiet again. I don't know what happens next, but I'm done making excuses for my mother. Update 1, 4 days later. Happy New Year, I guess. Things have gotten worse. First, the immediate aftermath. After we left Christmas dinner, apparently my grandmother absolutely laid into my mother. My younger brother called me the next morning and gave me the play-by-play. Grandma told Mom she's been an embarrassment to the family for years, he said. Said Dad should have corrected her behavior decades ago, but was too much of a coward. Then she said if Mom ever spoke about your wife that way again, she'd write her out of the will entirely. Grandma controls a decent inheritance from my grandfather's side. Nothing crazy, but enough that the threat carried weight. Mom's response? She doubled down. The day after Christmas, she started calling relatives who hadn't been at the dinner, telling her version of events. In her telling, I ambushed her with the paternity test after she made an innocent observation about genetics. She's been painting herself as the victim of a coordinated attack. Some people bought it. Her sister, my aunt who lives out of state, called me to say I should apologize to your mother for embarrassing her. Apologize for proving my daughter is mine after she accused my wife of cheating? At Christmas dinner? In front of 15 people. She said it wasn't like that. She said she just asked an innocent question and you blew up at her. I hung up. Then came the texts. Oh God, the texts. Mom sent me probably 30 messages in 2 days. They range from, I can't believe you would treat your own mother this way, to, I only said what I said because I love you, to your wife has clearly turned you against me, to my personal favorite. That test could have been faked. For all I know, SG ordered it and substituted someone else's DNA. Yeah, my wife apparently masterminded a DNA conspiracy to hide her affair. That makes sense. I didn't respond to any of them. Then she started on my wife directly. My wife got a Facebook message from my mom. They're not friends on there. Mom had to go out of her way to message her. That said, and I'm quoting directly, I know what you are. I know what you did. One day the truth will come out, and my son will see you for the lying tramp you've always been. Lying tramp. To the mother of her granddaughter. My wife screenshot it and sent it to me. Then she blocked my mom on everything. The next day, my mom showed up at our apartment. We have a Ring doorbell, thank God. I saw her on my phone at work and texted my wife not to answer. She knocked for 15 minutes, then started talking to the camera. I know you're in there. I just want to talk. This has gone on long enough. We need to work this out like adults. I'm your mother. You can't just cut me off. My wife texted me. She's been out there for 20 minutes. Should I call someone? I told her to wait. Eventually, Mom left, but not before saying to the camera, this is her doing. She's poisoned you against your own family. I hope you're happy. My dad called that night. First time I'd heard from him since Christmas. Your mother is very upset, he said. Good. She feels like you overreacted. She called my wife a cheater in front of the entire family. On Christmas, while holding my daughter, she admits she could have phrased things differently. Phrased things differently? Dad, she's been doing this for months. Years. Actually, if you count all the other ways she's disrespected my wife. This wasn't a one-time slip. This was a pattern. He sighed. What do you want me to do? I want you to tell her she was wrong. I want you to stop enabling her. I want you to be a father instead of just whatever you've been doing for the last 40 years. He didn't say anything for a long moment. Then I'll talk to her. He won't. He never does. Update 2, 9 days later. My grandmother is an absolute legend, and my mother is currently experiencing what I can only describe as complete social isolation. Let me back up. After the doorbell camera incident, I sent the video and the Facebook message to my brothers, my grandmother, and a couple of other family members, just so everyone knew what was actually happening, not my mom's sanitized version. The response was immediate. My grandmother called me within an hour of seeing the video. "I raised that woman's husband," she said, "and I am ashamed that she's been allowed to act this way for so long. This ends now." Grandma is 81 years old, and she organized a family intervention in 3 days. I didn't even ask her to. She just did it. She invited my mom and dad to her house for coffee and discussion. Then she invited my brothers and their wives. She did not invite me or my wife because she said my mom would get defensive and make it about you instead of about her behavior. My younger brother recorded the whole thing on his phone and sent it to me later. The highlights. Grandma opened by reading my mom's Facebook message out loud. "Lying tramp," in front of everyone. Mom immediately tried to explain. That was taken out of context. What context makes calling the mother of your granddaughter a lying tramp acceptable? Grandma asked. Mom started crying. I was upset. I felt attacked. You were the attacker. At Christmas dinner, we were all there. My older brother's wife spoke up. "You've been making comments about her for years. We've all heard them. This wasn't new. I never meant anything by those comments. You literally said their baby wasn't his." In front of everyone. While holding the baby, Mom tried a different approach. Went after my wife again. "She's turned my son against me. He used to tell me everything. Now he barely speaks to me. That's not natural." My younger brother actually laughed. "It's completely natural when your mom won't stop insulting your wife." Dad, predictably, tried to play peacemaker. "Maybe everyone just needs to calm down and—" "No," Grandma said. "I've watched you enable this behavior for 30 years. She treats people poorly, and you make excuses. That stops today." Then came the ultimatum. Grandma told my mom that unless she apologized, a real apology, in writing to both me and my wife, she would no longer be welcome at family gatherings that Grandma hosted, which is most of them. She also mentioned the will again, though she didn't give specifics. Mom lost it, started yelling about how she was being ganged up on and how this was exactly what that woman wanted. She stormed out. Dad followed her, looking like he wanted to be literally anywhere else. The apology arrived 2 days later, via email. To me only, not my wife. It said, "I'm sorry you felt hurt by my concerns about paternity. I only ever wanted what was best for you. I hope we can move past this misunderstanding and be a family again. I miss my son." That's not an apology. That's a masterclass in deflection. Sorry you felt hurt. Concerns about paternity, like she was asking a reasonable question instead of publicly accusing my wife of infidelity. Misunderstanding, as if there was any ambiguity about what she said. I forwarded it to Grandma. Grandma's response, "That's not an apology. She's not welcome at Easter." Mom found out she was uninvited and tried to go around Grandma by calling my aunt to host Easter instead. Aunt declined. Then she tried my older brother. He also declined. The woman who spent 40 years as the center of every family gathering is now scrambling to find someone willing to host her. It's not vindictive when I say this feels good. It's just justice. Update 3. Final, 3 weeks later. This is my last update. Things have reached a sort of equilibrium, and I think I've said everything I need to say. The final fallout with my mom played out over the last couple weeks. She never did give my wife a real apology. Instead, she's settled into a permanent victim narrative. From what my brothers tell me, she's been telling anyone who will listen that she's being punished for loving her son too much and that my wife orchestrated her exile from the family. She's even started attending a different church because apparently some people at her regular one heard what happened and she didn't like the look she was getting. My dad has been trying to play both sides, which means he's basically useless to everyone. He sends me occasional texts, "Thinking of you, hope the baby's doing well," that kind of thing, but he won't acknowledge what his wife did or take any kind of stand. I respond politely, but briefly. Our relationship wasn't great before this, and it's not going to get better. The surprising part has been how the rest of the family handled things. My grandmother has been incredible. She's come over twice in the past month to see my daughter. Brought a hand-knitted blanket that she apparently started working on the day she was born. Never once mentioned the drama. Just wanted to spend time with her great-granddaughter. I should have said something years ago, she told me during her second visit. I saw how your mother treated people, and I made excuses. Family peace, keeping things calm, all that. But sometimes peace isn't worth the price. My brothers and their wives have been more present too. We did a small New Year's thing at my younger brother's place. No parents invited. It was the most relaxed family gathering I can remember. My wife is doing better. The first week after Christmas was rough. She felt guilty, like she'd somehow caused the family rift. I had to keep reminding her that my mother caused the rift. My mother made the accusation. My mother refused to apologize. My wife just existed while being Italian. She stopped blaming herself now. She still doesn't want to see my mother again, and honestly, I don't either. Some relationships aren't worth salvaging. My daughter remains blissfully unaware of all of it. She's 7 months old. Her biggest concern is whether the ceiling fan will keep spinning. I envy her. As for the paternity test itself, I've kept the printed copies. Part of me thinks I should throw them away, that keeping them means I'm holding on to the drama. But another part of me knows that people like my mother don't change. 10 years from now, she'll probably still be implying things. At least I have the receipts. Some people in the comments have asked if I feel bad about what happened, if I wish I'd handled it differently. Honestly, no. For years, I tried the soft approach. Gentle corrections. Mom, that's not appropriate. Mom, please stop. Mom, you're hurting my wife's feelings. None of it worked because there were no consequences. She could say whatever she wanted, and I'd still show up for Sunday dinner, still call on her birthday, still pretend everything was fine. The paternity test wasn't revenge. It was evidence. The only thing I did was prepare for her accusations and refuse to let her rewrite reality when she finally made them in front of witnesses. She chose to die on that hill. I just gave her the shovel. My therapist, I started seeing one after all this, says that children of difficult parents often feel responsible for managing their emotions. We become peacemakers because the alternative feels too scary. But sometimes the peace we're keeping isn't real. It's just silence. I'm done being silent. If my mom ever genuinely apologizes to my wife, not to me for what she actually did, not for misunderstandings, I consider talking to her again. But I'm not holding my breath. And I'm not going to sacrifice my wife's dignity or my daughter's relationship with her mother just to keep a toxic person comfortable. Family isn't just blood. It's behavior. And if you behave like my mother, you don't get to claim family privileges. That's where things stand. My wife is happy. My daughter is healthy. My real family, the people who treat us with respect, are closer than ever. Everything else is just noise. Thanks for following along. Hug your kids, stand up for your partners, and maybe get that paternity test ready if your mom is anything like mine. Take care.